So today we're going to talk about developing your resume for a federal job. There's different ways to go about doing it. There's actually a resume builder within USAJobs. The challenge with that is from the other end. If the hiring manager is reviewing your application, it is difficult to read and it doesn't really make your resume stand out. So sometimes taking that extra step of developing your own resume and customizing it would be helpful. So here we're going to take a look at a sample of my resume. I removed some of the personal information except for some that I'm willing to share, and we'll go ahead and go over it. So here you can see this is the federal resume template. When you are applying for the job, and I had it on another video, when you get to the very end, or sometimes it's in the job description, it tells you the formatting that they're requesting. Now, when I received this template, it was from somebody that was a department head. So they were basically a GS 1314. This is the actual header of the resume. So my contact information, my preference as far as my points and my service connection is going to be listed at the very top, and it's always going to show. The reason for that is when we are reviewing resumes, we actually have to take a look at the applicants, whether it's civilian, which is like basically a non-veteran, and a veteran. When we make our selection, if we select a non-veteran, we have to specify why we selected them over a veteran. Sometimes there's more qualified. And then the service connection, if you are 30% and above, there's some job positions are available for you to almost be like a direct hire. Now, this section right here, the summary of qualifications, there's specific core competencies. This is what I adjust when I'm applying for a position. That is basically letting them know that these are the core competencies I have that meets the job position. So we want to make sure that right off the bat, they kind of get an idea, what you're experienced in. Again, think about like how you frame it. It's something that you already possess, so it's going to be in past tense. Also state whether you are an expert, experienced, or some knowledge. So sometimes the language you use gives an idea of the level of your expertise. I stay away from the language of expert because I always believe in learning. I'm always going to learn more from others. So for me, that's more of a preference. If you feel that you are an expert, then feel free to put that on there. General core competencies, that should be something that carries over from job to job. We're talking about communication, highly effective writing, being able to work with teams, critical thinking, problem solving. Those are things that you want to highlight. Education, if you have multiple degrees, highlight them here. If you don't have them, that's fine. Just put down what you have already attained. I put the name of the university, like either a certificate or degree. If you didn't complete it, I wouldn't put a date. Just put down the degree that you tried to attain, and then the city and state that like the university is located. Like most of my universities, most of my education was online. Any type of certifications and training that you've done, I would put at least the last 10 years. Might have to do a different series because like my fiance is a nurse, and when they do their hiring, it is different. The resume is completely different from a regular GS position. The reason why is like they keep them at 2 pages. Since it's multiple pages, we want your education, any type of training that you've done, any committees, any projects within at least the first 2 pages. Like with this, I put down any committees that I'm a member of, or I chair or co-chair, or I support, any projects I've done, recent ones. List everything that's relevant to the position you're applying for. And then also your skills. I put the most recent. When I update, I just add the new ones. So then this way it shows that over time, I've developed additional skills and have some experience, work experience. So how it's formatted, I start with the position and the date I start, and then present. So this one is my current position. And then specifically for federal, you have to specify your hours, whether it's full-time or part-time. If it's part-time, specify the number of hours you work a week, and then salary. For me, when I look at resumes and I look at the time the person has been at a job and I look at their salary, this is a telltale if somebody job hops. If they're at a specific job for within a year and then they change at another job, and you can see that's a slight change in salary, for me, it shows that, this person, I might not be able to keep them. Especially, once they meet that requirement, they might go to the next grade. Now, the body of the work experience itself, try to keep it in bullet format. It makes it easier to read. It really does. And then instead of just listing what you did, frame it in a way that shows what you did and how it made an impact to the organization. It kind of basically, it's like a mini story. So when it is your current job, put it in the present tense. When you start talking about a previous job, shift it to the past tense. In the government, there's opportunities for you to do a detail, which means it's a temporary role where you can kind of learn a different job, basically to try it out to see if it's something that you want to do. Sometimes, it can be a temporary promotion, which is great, but sometimes it can be a lateral, which means it's the same grade, but you just want the experience. So even if it's a short period of time, go ahead and put that in there to kind of let them know, like this one is specifically just 120-day detail. And then this is the actual job position that I have that was permanent, but then I put the snippet of the detail in there, because like when I am reviewing resumes, it shows me flexibility. It shows me the ability to be able to shift from one role to another. And then it shows me, especially this one was like a supervisory position, so it shows me leadership skills. Now, when you have what we call collateral duty, so within a position, you can have another job duty that's not full-time, but you take on to kind of help the organization. As far as salary, make sure you put that on there. If it's the full annual salary, put the full amount, but if it's hourly, then put the dollar amount / per hour. The way this reads is basically GS, like the grade, and then the step. I can actually remove and stop here because this was basically my 10-year mark, but for the sample, I wanted to keep it because there's actually a civilian position here to kind of show you an example of what that looked like. I don't have an hourly one. And then for references, give at least 3. And now here is the template. The information I have here, the blue basically just outlines and gives you specificities as far as what you want to put on there. But it's pretty much the same format. I wanted to include what the hourly would look like, part-time. You can place that on there. And then also, if it's a volunteer position, you don't have to put a salary, but you can put NA/volunteer, but definitely be detailed with even a volunteer position. If you showed any type of skill that will pertain to the job that you're applying for, think about your leadership skills, event coordination, managing volunteers, fundraising, fund management. Those are real skills, even though you're not getting paid for them. So that counts. So make sure that you go ahead and put that in. Okay, I had to add a second part to this video. I accidentally found it when I was going through USAJobs. They actually provide events for you to be able to attend webinars, do some resume building, and they give you different tips specific to the agency you want to apply for. So let's go ahead and take a look. You go to events, and then here you can see like webinars, any type of informational, and then you can go ahead and register. This is super helpful if you are looking to apply for something more specific as far as the agency, and then they can actually give you some more details. This one's for Department of Treasury, writing your federal resume. My fiance is a nurse, so their resume is completely different from other GS employees. That will encompass at least 10 years, but for them, they want 2 pages and they don't like gaps. So that's something you might have to take a look at and see what agency you want to apply for, and then get those resume tips. They also go over the hiring process. I kind of give it to you from a perspective of someone that's looked at the resume on the other side and somebody that's gone through the process itself. They have hiring events, they have virtual information sessions. So just check it out. And then you can look here, and if you want to filter out which ones you want to see in any type of hiring recruitment event. So this is super helpful. Again, when you go to USAJobs, go to the events tab, and then that'll take you to that section. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, just put them in the comment below and we'll reach out to you. I'm working on the template, that the one I showed you. I want to update that because that's my own personal one, but looking at the event section, they actually have like a different format. So I want to be able to show you both. And this way you have options. And I hope that helps. And I will talk to you soon. Click subscribe if this was helpful, and please share it with somebody else. Thank you. Have a great day.